Hi guys, today we're going to create these lovely cards using the Hostess set Tranquil Tulips. So without further ado, let's get stamping. Hey guys, it's me, Tara, coming to you from thecraftsergeant.com. Today, I am actually excited to share with you this card that you see here. Well, it's not really a card, it's actually a card front. So this card, the reason why I created it is because I am doing an event on the 20th of September, and it is for the deployed spouses. And so all of the spouses who have members of their family deployed, they will get to create a card. And I think it's really cool how I get to share my love and passion for crafting with others. So that is the purpose of why I created this card. It took me a minute to kind of come up with something that was super simple, but I finally did it. Alright, so I'm going to actually show you how to create this card today. So starting out, you are going to need two stamp sets. So the first stamp set that I used was the Hostess stamp set. This is one of my favorite stamp sets in our annual catalog, and it is called Tranquil Tulips. I think I have created I've created a few cards with this. Haven't done a video on them yet. This is my very first video featuring this stamp set, so I'm really excited to share with you how I created it. But as you can see, there's 22 stamp sets or stamps in here, and it's photopolymer. I've already taken out the ones that I'm going to use and put them on my acrylic blocks already, so we'll be using those shortly. Another stamp set that I actually used was the sentiment. So this sentiment says sending love and hugs to you. I actually pulled that from the Ribbon of Courage stamp set. This is another one of my favorites, and I think it's because I've had experience with talking and experience with people in my family that have survived of cancer. So it's pretty awesome. So this one also comes with 9 stamps. I will probably do a video on a card using this stamp set sometime in the future, but not today. But it has some really cool sentiments in it, but those specifically, the one that I used was sending love and hugs to you, which I thought would be fitting for deployed members. Alright, so this card, another thing that I'm kind of veering off track here with the items that you're going to need, but if I can pick it up. This is something that I actually created. I watched a few videos on how to use this stamp set, and I was trying to just get some ideas of what color combinations I wanted to use. This isn't all of the color combinations that I could possibly use, but these are just a few. Specifically, the one that I'm using for this card, because it's a 2-step stamp set, you have a lighter image and a darker image. The darker image is on top, so I use the darker color or darker ink for that one, and then I use the a lighter ink for the first step. So this is just like a little cheat sheet that I use and I created. Alright, so speaking of inks, alright, so these are the inks that you are going to need first for your sentiment. And these little pieces inside of the tulips, I used basic black. For the leaves, I used pear pizzazz. For the top of the tulip, I used melon mambo. And then for the bottom, that first step that I used flirty flamingo. So those are the inks that you're going to need for this one. As far as cardstock is concerned, these are the cardstocks that you're going to need. So this one right here, I actually ordered note cards. Stampin' Up has a set of, I think it's 20 that come in a pack. It's the note cards and the envelopes, and they measure, I think it's 5 1/4 by 3, if I'm not mistaken. So this was what I kind of demoed. I did my demo on, and of course it's just it's a card front, not a whole card, just so I can kind of experiment. But today I'm actually going to do a full scale card just to see how it comes out. So you're going to need a piece of thick whisper white that measures at 5.5 by 4 and 5.5 by 11. So how I got this piece, I just cut a 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock in half. So, and then I scored it at 4 1/4. So that's thick whisper white. You are going to need a few scraps for this. So I specifically got a piece of Melon Mambo and a piece of whisper white. And that is just a scrap piece, just big enough to hold the circles for your sentiment and the background border. Now, one awesome thing that I did do with this one is I used punches for this one. Well, I used one punch. I actually ordered the 2 and I think it's a 2 1/4 inch punch. Right now I only have the 2, and this is like a perfect size. So just to expedite the process when I'm actually doing the event, instead of having them use the big shot to roll out the circle, I'm going to have the 2 1/4 inch punch. But today I actually used my big shot for this. So this is the first punch. This is a 2-inch circle punch, which is pretty awesome. It was big enough to hold that sentiment here that you see. And like I said, for the outer circle, you can use the 2 1/4 inch punch, which is on its way now for this event. I've gone ahead and pre-cut out that circle out of Melon Mambo because I wanted to show you guys how I did that. All right. So for the accent, I used one of the, what are these things called? I used the, one second, I will tell you in a minute. Gotta pull out my calendar. I done forgot I had a, my brain's not thinking right now. Enamel shapes, that's what that's called. So I'm using the Melon Mambo melon shapes for this. Now these shapes are really cool because you can get them in like different colors that match, they coordinate with the ink, right? So this is really awesome. There's like 10 of them that come in a pack. Look how many I get. So for this particular card, I am using the Melon Mambo. All right, so some remaining items that you're going to need. Of course, you are going to need some kind of acrylic blocks for this. I've already pre-attached my stamps onto my acrylic blocks, but you're going to need a few of those. You're going to need some dimensionals and some Snell adhesive and your bone folder. And of course, you're going to need the stamping trimmer. I have stuff sitting on it, so I'm not going to show you guys that. But that's all you're going to need to create this card. So let's go ahead and begin. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to crease my card. Alright, so I've creased my card, so now we're going to go ahead and do our stamping. One thing that I forgot to mention, you are going to need your Stampin' Pierce mat. Because it is photopolymer stamps, you're able to get a crisper image and a more filled in image, which, if that makes sense. So before we do, alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to actually go ahead and punch out our stuff. So I'm taking my 2-inch punch and I'm just taking a scrap piece of whisper white, line it up in there, and then I just punch it out. See how easy that was? So here's your circle, right? So we're going to do some stamping on that. Alright, so we're going to set that to the side, and we're going to kind of use our circle as a gauge on where we want to do it. So first we're going to take our Pear Pizzazz, and we're going to use our, I'm getting the ones with the three stems. You see that? I'm inking it up. And I am going to put this kind of closer down to the bottom. There we go. Yep. Alright. So we got that. So we're gonna, yep, okay. So since we already have our Pear Pizzazz, we're going to go ahead and take our leaves. We're just gonna fill in the spots. I'm not doing anything like too fancy. All right, so let me clean my stamp off real quick. And now I'm going to take my other leaf, this one right here, this one, and then I'm going to ink that one up and bring it up a little ways. There we go. Alright, so now that I've done that, it is now time for me to stamp our tulip tops. So because this is a two-step stamp set, you are going to pick out, there's two images on here. So if you look at your case, you'll see some that are like fully filled in, and then you'll have some that are like darker images. Now they look kind of splotchy on the case, and that is that's how it's supposed to be. So when you stamp it onto your cardstock, it's going to have like a watercolor effect, and that is the correct effect that you're supposed to get with that stamp. Alright, so I'm going to take my Flirty Flamingo now, ink up that's this lighter image, this one right here, and now I'm going to stamp that on over all three of the stems. Now I'm going to put them low enough to kind of touch the stem tops. All right, so you see the effect. If you can, let me pull this up closer. You see how it looks like it's kind of like light in the center? That is how it's supposed to look. It's supposed to give you that really cool watercolor look. Alright, so now we're going to take our Melon Mambo, put that over to the side, and now you're going to take the darker piece, which is this one here, and we're going to stamp that on top of the our tulip, on top of the Flirty Flamingo. So since this is photopolymer, you can see through it, and I'm going to try to line this up as best as I can. There we have it. There's another one. And another one. There we go. Alright. So y'all see that? I messed up a little bit right there, but it's alright. Alright, so now I'm going to clean my stamps off real quick. So I need to use the same clear block. Alright, so we're going to put that to the side. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take our basic black, and we are going to use these little images here. So there's a couple of little, I don't know if you can see, they're like little dots. So those are like the centers of the flowers. So we're going to take a little bit of basic black. So we're going to twist, twist, tap, tap. And we're going to go and line this up in the center of the tulip. Just very lightly. Very lightly. Apply the centers and the side of the tulips. Alright. We have it. So we're done with that one. Put that to the side. So now it's time for us to stamp our sentiment. So once again, I am using the Sending Love and Hugs to You from the Ribbon of Courage stamp set. and I'm going to take my circle, my Whisper White circle, and I'm going to line up the image for the sentiment and stamp it right into the center. That's beautiful. Perfect. Alright, now it's time for us to assemble our cards. So the first thing I'm going to do is take our Whisper White circle and adhere it using some adhesive, our Stella adhesive. So I'm just going to put like a little bit of this in there and like an X. Line it up on the circle. Make sure it's even all around. And there we have it. So before we attach this to our card using the dimensionals, we're going to place one of these little guys here. Now you can use any of the shapes. You can use the heart, you can use a star, you can use the dots, you can even use rhinestones if you want to, a pearl if you want. But I just decided to use one of these enamel shapes. Alright, there we have it. And now I'm going to take one dimensional and now I'm going to attach this to my card. Now you can put it in the center, you can put it on the left side, you can put it on the right side. It's all up to you where you want it. But I'm just going to put it here. Making sure I line it up right. Alright. And there you have it. So like I said, this is going to be the size of my note cards, and I just decided to create a normal size card for this. If you like watching this video tutorial, be sure to comment and like. Also, don't forget to subscribe to get the latest and greatest project ideas and Stampin' Up! News. You'll also find a PDF that contains the dimensions, a supply list, and written instructions on my blog. You can find the link below. Thanks for watching, and happy stamping!